Good afternoon, everybody. Today is the 22nd of May, and we are going to jump right into episode 4, The Final Days in the Bahamas, the Lynette Hooker case. By early 2026, Lynette and Brian Hooker had sailed Soulmate into the Bahamas, anchoring primarily around the Abaco Islands. Their movements during this period were consistent with long-term cruisers, short hops between anchorages, supply runs, and routine maintenance. But investigators would later scrutinize this final stretch of their journey, noting that the couple's time in the Bahamas marked a shift in both behavior and circumstances. The Abacos are known for shallow banks, shifting winds, and unpredictable weather patterns. Local mariners later described the conditions during this period as challenging, with frequent gusts and choppy seas. Despite this, the Hookers continued to move between islands, using their dinghy to travel between shore and their anchored sailboat. In the days leading up to April 4th, 2026, the couple was anchored near Elbow Cay, close to Hope Town, a popular cruising area with a mix of tourists, long-term sailors, and local residents. Their presence was not unusual. What would become unusual and later heavily scrutinized was the timeline that followed. This episode focuses on the final calm before the storm, the last documented days of Lynette's life, before the night she vanished into the water. For Lynette, the Bahamas should have been the culmination of everything she had worked toward: warm water, open horizons, and the freedom she had chased since childhood. She shared photos of turquoise shallows and quiet anchorages, and the kind of seas that made the ocean feel like a second home. But those closest to her later described a woman who was carrying more than she let on. The isolation of long-term cruising, the strain of her marriage, the unpredictability of life at sea had begun to weigh on her. Even so, she kept moving forward, documenting her days, the same optimism she had been showing since the beginning of the journey. In these final days, Lynette was still paddleboarding. She was out there exploring, still trying to make the most of the life that she had chosen. There is no indication she expected anything to go wrong. To her, this was just another chapter in a long adventure, another island, another sunset, another night on the water. The people who would later search had questions. They were questioning the timeline and analyzing every detail of her disappearance. They would look back at those days with a different perspective. They would see quiet before the chaos, the moments of normalcy before everything changed. That concludes episode 4. Tomorrow we will resume with episode 5. And as we get closer and closer, there will be more indication of a lot of evidence that has come forward. The Soulmate has since been, just drew a blank on the word I wanted to use, has been taken by the authorities and it's being investigated. It is considered to be a crime scene. So this concludes today's chapter in the disappearance of Lynette Hooker. The investigation, as I said, it's continuing, and there's a lot more to cover. Please stay tuned for the next episode as we follow every lead. We will examine every detail and push this story forward. If you have any thoughts, theories, or questions, please share them. Your perspective does matter. The search for answers is far from over.